Hello and welcome to this week's Devil in Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson and I'm here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining me the show this week, as ever, got Paul Whiteside. Not done this for a couple of weeks together. Paul, how have you been?
I know you said there as ever, but I've not been on for a while, have I? So it's quite rare. Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Thank you. I've been busy and that, as you know, with things and work always seems to get in the way, doesn't it? And every night I'm supposed to do the podcast, I always end up finishing work late. But yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. How's yourself?
Yeah, keeping Britain going. That's what you're doing, Paul. That's all that matters. But yeah, been busy really, work and that, and family, and rugby's back now in it. So every minute of every weekend's covered now in it. That's the joy of life, really.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of your time, doesn't it, when the match is on? I mean, I'm just glad this weekend it's a Saturday game rather than a Thursday night. I mean, the last few weeks we've had Thursday night games, and they're tricky to get to when you're working, and especially when it's away from home as well. And I like the Thursday night games. I'm usually shattered on Friday because it's a long because you're out all day and then straight to the game in your van, and then you're home till late. So I'm glad it's a Saturday. I know it's a trip to Hull, but it should be quite smooth going up the M62 on Saturday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a Saturday 3 o'clock game.
Yeah, so lots to go on this week. We're going to look back at the Warrington defeat. We're going to talk about the ladies, their first pre-season game of the season. The reserves played Warrington in their first league game, so we're going to talk about that game as well. Look at all the big news coming out of the club. And we've got Whiteside's World Rugby League, and then we're going to preview the game against Hull on Saturday. So, should we start with the game against Warrington, Paul?
Yeah, certainly, mate, certainly.
Yeah, so Salford were defeated against Warrington away from home. They lost 36 points to 20, Paul. Obviously, great first half, went into a commanding lead, but unfortunately, lack of ball and too much territory for Warrington made the difference.
Yeah, it did. I described it, I mean, like me thing as a game of two halves. I know it's an old cliche, but it really was. It was one extreme to the other. The first half, I thought Warrington made a good start. They come out all guns blazing, but we weathered that early storm and took them apart, really. Going in 20 points to 6, we scored 3 really good tries. I think we made sort of 10 line breaks, 8 to 10 line breaks. Looked dead dangerous every time we got the ball. Excuse me, I remember Tyler Dupree racing through, and we were just cutting them to pieces. And for one reason or other, that second half, things didn't go our way. I know Warrington's got a massive pack of forwards, haven't they? And they sort of rotated them. Cassiano came on, and like Paul Vaughan had a good game. They got 2 good halfbacks there, and they started moving the ball. Plus, they had a lot of possession. We didn't have any ball at all in that second half, and the sin binning sort of put the nail on the head, really, didn't it? That turned it completely for us. So it's disappointing, but come away from the game sort of not happy, but I thought we played quite well, so wasn't too despondent.
Yeah. Obviously, looking at the positives, Paul, that first half going in 20 points to 6. Great tries from Ellis Longstaff, Mark Steed, and Ryan Briley. Like you said, Warrington's big forwards worked against them in the first half, with us attacking the edges and making meters as well, which is important. Obviously, we were in good ball with territory, and I just felt we were in control going into our time. But rugby league's a funny game, isn't it? It's momentum, and it seemed in that second half, Warrington scored early in that second half. The sin bin came, and they took advantage of the extra man on the field. And when there is momentum in a game, it's hard to stop.
Yeah. And I thought we lacked a bit of composure in that second half. Every time the ball went in the air, I think Dion Cross fluffed a few kicks, and Briley at the back as well didn't look as steady, and Warrington seemed to turn the screw on us there, really, and perhaps we panicked a bit. I think we got a penalty goal, didn't we? And I thought we should have run that. And I think Sneedy went for goal and missed it. And we not had any ball at all for that first 10 minutes. I remember saying to my dad, why don't we just run this now and just have a bit of possession in there half? And obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But obviously Sneedy went for the kick and missed the kick. But I think you've got to give Warrington a bit of credit. They've won 3 from 3. They look pretty good. They've spent a lot of money on that team and brought players in. They look... I'm not saying they're going to be title contenders, but they look like they're going to be in the playoff zone around there. They've got a big squad. And when you've got blokes like Cassiano coming off the bench and that Paul Vaughan in the team and their halfbacks as well, are pretty good, Drinkwater and George Williams. They're not a bad side, are they? And, I think we give them a lot of problems. We proved that if you can move the ball, as Leeds did on Friday night against St Helens, if you move the ball wide and take a chance your arm, you'll cause teams problems. And Leeds did to St Helens, and we did to Warrington. But sadly for us, it was only 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think Warrington are going to be there and thereabouts. I know every year people say, it's always their year, but coming back from 20 points to 6 down in that first half, at home where the crowd would have been nervous, shows they've got something in them for me. But it was momentum. The sin binning I thought was harsh on Ryan Briley. I think obviously the referee has his decision to make there, whether he held him down too long or not. But I thought it was a very harsh decision, which had a crucial effect on the game.
Yeah, the Briley sin, I did. I mean, I think things like that are 10 a penny. I know we made a lot of breaks in that first half, and Warrington must have held us down on some of them. So he swings and roundabouts in it. So I thought the referee was a bit harsh on us there, and that was a big moment in the game. I mean, would Warrington have still won if Briley had stayed on? They might have done, because it was going their way, wasn't it? But I thought that was a harsh decision. And what I didn't like was the way Josh Drinkwater was sort of appealing to the referee to tell him, 10 minutes. I mean, I don't like that sort of a game, where players are sort of trying to influence the referee. I know it goes on, but it's a bit uncalled for, that, really. But no, it's a big decision, Matt.
Yeah, and then obviously the 2 8-point tries were crucial as well. Paul, what did you make of them? Obviously, the Dupree one happens a lot in rugby. Obviously, when someone scores, people coming back towards their own goal, it happens a lot. I'm not particularly bothered as long as everyone gets treated the same. If this week somebody dies over and someone goes in with the knees and the same happens again, then that's fine by me. If it doesn't happen again, then obviously questions need to be asked.
I thought it was laughable, Rob, to be honest with you. I've been watching Salford for 35, 36 years, and I can remember one at the AJ Bell, because we moved there, and that was Hastings against Toulouse, I think it was, in 2018. He got his head chopped off as he went over the line, which is the right decision. But I can only think of maybe 3 or 4 in all the time I've watched it, and then you get 2 in half an hour. So it was unbelievable. So I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, what was the betting odds on that? I thought Dupree it's one of them, innit? A player's committed. The Watkins one, I've not watched the video back, so I didn't even see that, so I don't even know what that was for. But I don't know. I think sometimes referees tend to be a bit pedantic sometimes, don't they? And a bit of common sense is needed. But if that's what they're going to do, fair enough. But you've got to do it and police it and be consistent. You can't just give them out willy-nilly when you fancy it. It's got to be consistent and every week. So we'll watch this weekend and see what happens.
Yeah, I think obviously the letter of the law, both were the correct decision, but how often does it happen and it just gets sort of waved away? And it's just like you say, I suppose referees must have had a chat about in off season and decided, this is what we're going to do. We're going to police this, and it's like every season there's always something they try and improve, like the play the ball. I think it was last year where the first couple of rounds players were getting penalised for not playing the ball right, and it all settled down after a few weeks. So hopefully this will be the same. The Watkins one for me, Paul, as the Warrington player dives over, he does clock him in the face with a high tackle, but I don't think it was deliberate. I just think it was a desperate attempt to dislodge the ball, which missed and touched his face instead. A lot of players do that. You see it a lot, I think, in when players dive over the line and there's bodies everywhere. But like I said, consistency. If it happens again and get the same outcome, happy days. If not, then you've got to start asking questions.
Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't seem to be consistent, does it? I mean, every week that something will happen or somebody will get banned. I think it was it Wellesby, St Helens last week took somebody's head off. He didn't get banned, and then somebody else did get a ban, and it's like, well, what did he get banned for? I mean, Sean Kennedale's got 4 games for something, and I believe it was dead. I've not seen what he's done, but someone said, it's very controversial what he's got 4 matches for, so we'll have to have a look at that. But like you just said, they hit the nail on the head. Every season, there's always something that the referees sort of are dead hot on, aren't they, at the start of the year? It's usually like sometimes it's start playing the ball correctly or offside at marker, or it's been something every season, hasn't it? All we want is a bit of consistency. And I think what disappoints me is when you come away from a match or come away from watching a great game, like I watched the Saints Leeds game I didn't watch it Friday night, I watched it on Sunday, and I really enjoyed it. There was loads of stuff happening, and there's a bit of controversy and what have you, but it was a top game. But what we tend to find now is everyone's moaning about the refereeing decisions, when we should be saying, well, what a great game that was, and what a great try, what a great pass. That's what we don't want the referees to take centre stage. We want them to be in the background.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been starting watching Australian Rugby League on a Friday, and I noticed their commentators, anything that's sort of like dubious, and you got to, I think if we would look at it again, they just gloss over. And they don't talk about. They talk about the fantastic play rather than, was that a knock on? Was he offside? They always talk about how great the skill was, and that might, so like you said, enhance the people's enjoyment of the sport and the game if people are calling out the great stuff rather than talking about the bad stuff.
You've only got to look on Twitter and Facebook, and that every time there's a good try. I think one of the Leeds tries actually was labelled this. People's first call is a forward pass, and it's like, come on, it's a great try. I mean, you could probably call, if you went right back through history books for the last 100 years and actually measured stuff with a ruler, there's probably been thousands of tries that have been a forward pass. The record books would look totally different, but sometimes, unless it's blatantly forward, that momentum rule and what have you, I mean, just applaud great rugby league. And instead, we always seem to, rugby league people always seem to be trying to find a fault. Oh, he's offside, or it's this, it's that, the other. But sometimes you've got to say, it's good, it's a good try, it's good play. I mean, I couldn't believe the meltdown the St. Helens supporters were having when they lost to Leeds, blaming the referee for everything. I thought, you've lost one game. Come on. You've just won the World Club Challenge. You've been beaten by Leeds, who played really well, which pays me to say. But it was like blaming the referee for everything. And I thought, you weren't blaming the referee of the semi-final last season when there was loads of controversy against us. So I don't know. We tend to blame referees for all sorts, really, don't we? Let's just celebrate good play and enjoy the sport for what it is.
Yeah, I think it's one of them where if you're the best in the world, you just want a homecoming and show the trophy. Everyone's glad having each other, and Leeds aren't the team they used to be, so they probably expected a bit of a rollover. But to be fair, Leeds were really good. I thought they were very fast around the ruck, and halfway through the game, I was thinking they're going to start blowing up here, but they didn't do. They were a good thing. Is it Rowan Smith? He's got them fit, and they definitely didn't drop off at the end. And like you said, a couple of big decisions at the end, but that's what people talk about in the pubs and the clubs after, don't they? The big decisions. A lot of it, it's been taken away by the video referee because you always get a decision, but sometimes you don't get the correct decision. That's why you get debate, stuff like that.
Of course, and I think it was Walters, the big Leeds forward, who come in for the shoulder charge, and it changed the game, really.
Yeah.
It was one of them. It was a 50-50, wasn't it? I mean, was it a shoulder charge? Wasn't it? It was hard to tell. And I think that's good. It's good to have banter about it and say, yeah, and you disagree with things. And one thing that annoyed me about, and I'm not going to have a go at Sky, I mean, I tend to watch the game with the sound down and listen to the local radio coverage, really. I think it's really good. But I couldn't believe the way before the game, Sky Sports was sort of saying, St. Helens have won this game at Canton. When we have the touchscreen after, we're going to have such a body. We might have Cruz Lehman if Leeds win, but Leeds aren't going to win. I mean, I thought it was really disrespectful to Leeds. I thought, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of their coverage, but no, as a whole, I've enjoyed the game so far this season. I think they've been good, and as you said, Leeds are playing. They lost the first two, but then looked really good in that game. So you look at the games. I mean, Lee had a good win at Hull KR. At the moment, it's very unpredictable, isn't it? The Super League. It's a lot of the teams can beat each other on the day, can't they?
That's what it's all about. Super League. It's about everyone being competitive and that's what us fans want. We want excitement every week and, good rugby. Talking about good rugby, Paul, we had some fantastic rugby in that first half. Rowley Ball was in full flow. I thought Tyra Dupree was fantastic. The forwards, attacking the edges of the Warrington defence. And yeah, obviously second half, a lot of ball, Warrington, a lot of possession. We started to gas, but there's a lot of positives to take out the game for me.
Yeah, there's loads of positives to take out of the game. It was an enjoyable game. I enjoyed the match. I mean, even the second half. I said to my dad on the way home in our Imogen, saying every time we come to Warrington, it's always a good game. It's always a really entertaining game. A few years ago, we had the 20 points to 19 game with the drop goals, didn't we? And I think it was George Williams who dropped the goal. Last season, we stormed back, didn't we, and won a game there. So it's always entertaining. And it was a shame the way it ended up. I think the scoreline flattered Warrington a bit, really. I didn't think we were 16 points worse off than what they were. But as you said, I was very, very impressed with Tyler Dupree. I thought, when he went through that gap there, he was causing real problems. I thought Oliver Partington again was tremendous, and it's just a shame he's picked an injury up now as well. So the pack, I thought, worked hard in the first half. And Brodie Croft, I think Warrington did a good job on Brodie. I think they kept him quiet, really. I don't think he really got much in the game. I thought Mark Sneed bossed it well, but I think we need to see a bit more from Brodie, hopefully, against Hull this weekend. Big pitch there. He'll be able to do his magic.
Yeah, talking about the stats now, Salford top meter meters, Ryan Briley 125, Ken C 141, Oliver Partington 58, Tyler Dupree 177, and Shane Wright 88. Thoughts, Paul?
Yeah, I thought the forwards put a good shift in, and as we said before, Warrington's probably got the biggest pack in the league. You look at the players they've got in their forwards, and it was always going to be a tough game. I think the bookies give us a 14 start, so it was always going to be behind the 8 ball going into the game. But I thought the forwards muscled up well. It was good to see Adam Sidlow, making his second debut for the club. I know there's probably more to come from him, but at the moment we're struggling for forwards. We were just chatting off air before, weren't we? Ben Helliwell's injured, Andrew Dixon's injured. We've now got Partington injured. We are struggling. James Greenwood's been out as well, hasn't he? So hopefully we'll get a few forwards back. But the likes of Shane Wright, I think he puts a shift in every week, doesn't he, when he plays? He's a tackling machine. He works really hard. And one player that really, really impressed me was Ellis Longstaff. I thought, for a kid of 20 years of age, I thought he was everywhere in that game. And I'd have him starting against Hull. I think he really, really impressed me. I thought he didn't look out of place. He looked like he'd been playing Super League for 10 years. So he's a really good find.
Yeah, took his try well, and like you say, opportunity for him. Obviously playing against, Warrington is his parent club, but if he plays well and he earns a contract, then it's opportunity to go on to do big things with us. Talking about the tackles now, Paul, Callum Watkins 38 tackles, Brodie Croft 21 tackles, Andy Ackers 39 tackles, Shane Wright 32 tackles, and Ellis Longstaff 26 tackles. Obviously, forwards doing a lot of work, like you said, with the big forwards of Warrington rolling down the middle. Was a tough night for him.
It was, yeah. Andy Ackers there with a good amount of tackles, and Ellis Longstaff, as you said there, for his debut, I thought he played really well. And you'd expect him to perform against his parent club, but he did. But yeah, Andy Ackers put a good shift in. Shane Wright as well. He was good, 30-odd tackles, and Callum Watkins there. That's a good showing for Callum. Callum, he always puts his hand up, doesn't he? And it was. Like I said to you before, it was coming away from the ground, even though we'd lost by 16 points, you sort of felt sorry for the players a bit, really, because they put so much effort in and yet come away with nothing. And it was a big effort. And I think Paul Rowley said it, didn't he, in his press conference? It was like an avalanche in that second half. Everything just seemed to go against us, didn't it? The penalties, the 6 agains. And that's another tough rule, the 6 again rule. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that, because you can be defending for your lives, and the referee can just sort of wave it on again. And you can turn the game really quickly. That so, is it one where you as a coach has to sort of have a word with the players, have a word with the referees, and say, well, what do you want us to do? To sort of prevent these 6 agains. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, I spoke to Paul Rowley about that in the press conference today, and he was like, nothing I can do about it. And he knows if he asks the referees, why you're not giving me decisions, he knows the answers that they'll give him. So it was a bit kind of sort of palmed it off, really, as like, well, it's just one of them things. And I kind of agree with him, but I'm sure when it really comes down to, I know we talk about intelligence, don't we, rugby league intelligence, and it's about milking the right penalty at the right time for me. And if you're going to get sort of a penalty on the first tackle, then it doesn't really affect you. If you can get 1, 2, 3, 4 tackles, then it gives you another, 50, 60 metres, doesn't it? And it's not difficult. It's not, I wouldn't call it cheat. It's just bending the rules, really. But that's sport, and you've got to find the edge when you can.
Yeah, I'd like to see the stats for them 6 agains, because I reckon, I'm not a betting man really, but I reckon that the home side wins it most weeks, gets more than the away side, because to me, if you're a referee and the crowd are on your case, begging for offside and that, you're going to sort of listen to it, especially if you're at St Helens ground where you've got all the Saints fans or Leeds fans behind it, Leeds ground. So it's one of them. I don't. It's not a rule I like. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. So what's the difference? Is a 6 again? It's not enough for a penalty, but I don't. It just seems a daft rule. It really does. So and it can like we say, it can change games, can't it? And you can have blowout score lines with it, and that's because that game was 16 points. There wasn't 16 points in that game between the two sides, I didn't think, really. It looked like a blowout score when it wasn't.
Yeah, I've asked the club if he can give me some stats on our 6 agains. I'm sure our stat man's there, beavering through a load of information now, trying to get at me. But it will be interesting, like you say, on where we're getting penalised and who is being penalised, so we can see where the problem areas are, and then obviously Paul Rennie might be able to fix it up. But it's like I say, difficult rule. I suppose you gotta it's here to stay in it in a way, so you've got to make sure you adapt. And like we said, momentum such as a difficult thing in rugby league to stop. As soon as a team get on a roll, it's very, very difficult to turn the corner. Big thanks for your 3-word match reports, man of the matches. We'll start with Colin Wilson. Jekyll and Hyde, his man of the match was right. Chairman Bob, game lasts 80 minutes. Dupree. Andy Roberts, never a yeller. Partington. Stuart Smart, horrific second half. Dupree. Mark, frustrating second half. Partington. James Hoskinson, no game management. Partington. I think, Paul, game management in that second half, if you don't have the ball, you don't have territory, and you're just coming off your line when you do have the ball, it's a bit difficult to manage.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we didn't really have anything, did we? We didn't have any possession. We had no territory. We was chasing it, really, weren't we? And it was like Rowley said, an avalanche of Warrington. We like the Alamo, wasn't it, really, coming at us? So we didn't really have much. Yeah, perhaps with a penalty kick, as I said, should we have ran it there? It's difficult, though. We were in front there, weren't we, I think, at the time. So I'm sure it was 8 points or something like that. So Sneedy was, trying to just edge us a bit further in front, wasn't he? So perhaps means game management on that, I don't know. But it was hard to, it wasn't our game to manage, was it, really? It was a game that was drifting away from us. So, yeah, I can understand the frustration, though, Rob.
Anita, refereeing game. Partington. Colin Reynolds, ref spoiled it. Dupree. Your mate Roy Ellaby, 30 unanswered points. He's got a point, I suppose, but like we said before, if you've not got no ball and no territory, you start to gas. So that's probably that's why we did concede 30 points in that second half. Duncan, Normanton, Jack Jones, joke. I don't think we can go too much on the referee. It's the same for both sides in many ways. Patrick Conley didn't deserve that. Dupree. So Richmond, horrific second half. Dupree. Michael Redfern, second half Blues. Natalie Taylor, ref horror show. Art B, can't speak. Jack Smith, is the referee. And so big thanks for your 3-word man of the matches. Obviously, just after the match, everyone's frustrated out the Paul, and it's a good way to know what everyone's feeling.
Yeah, it is. I mean, quite a few people bagging the referee off there. I mean, I'm not one for slagging referees off, but I didn't think Jack Smith gave us much. I thought he was a bit harsh on us at the time. I think the 2 8-point tries, I mean, we'll have to see how that goes. I thought they were very harsh. I thought the sin binning was very harsh. I just don't want referees to become the centre of attention. No one's bothered about the referee. Let's just watch the match. And to me, sometimes they do. They try and be sort of dramatic about things, and they mic'd up now and all that. And I don't know. I mean, this Saturday we've got Chris Kendall, haven't we? And he's another one that sort of likes to be the centre of attention, and he likes to be controversial, a bit like the Ganson of this world. And we don't want that. We just want to see good rugby league, don't we? So I can see where people are coming from, because, like you said, 8-point tries are like rocking horse droppings, aren't they? You don't see them, do you? I mean, I've never seen anything. You get 2 in a game. I just thought, we'll have to see how it goes. If there's a load of them this weekend, then fair enough, but I bet there's not. But no, we'll move on. We'll move on
to the reserves, Paul. They travelled to Warrington for their first game of the season and lost 40 points to 18. Stuart Wilkerton's men, obviously coming up against a bigger Warrington team. I thought they scored some good tries. Salford, we both sort of seen the highlights, and it shows they've got plenty of ball players in that team, and they know how to finish.
Yeah, nice facility there at Warrington as well. Looking at the camera footage, it looks a nice little ground, nice training facilities there. And good standard. I thought Warrington were impressive. But Salford's tries were good. The first try, lovely flick out the back there. And it looked like Jack Stevens was orchestrating things at half back, and that we looked to be moving the ball really well. Obviously, defence needs work. We conceded 40 points, but the tries we scored were excellent and well-worked tries.
Yeah. First try, Nathan Connell. I think it was Charlie Glover with the offload, and he found Connell in the corner. Great try, that one. And then Jason Lee crashed over after Jack Stevens did a bit of dancing through the Warrington defence. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about Jack Stevens and his potential. He had I thought he had serious involvement in a lot of Salford tries.
Yeah, good to see as well. A good young player, and hopefully he's a player that can make that pathway. And as all the players in the reserves can help out and play for the first team one day, because that's what you want. That's what you want to see. That's what it's all about. So yeah, I didn't think it was a million miles off. You know, some of those Warrington lads have probably been in that reserve team there and that development there for a good number of years now. So we're sort of slow starters, aren't we, to this, and probably playing catch up with some of the other teams. But no, I don't think it was a million miles off Warrington there. We're showing good signs, promising signs. So we've got, nucleus of a good side there. And yeah, let's see how it goes and progress throughout the season.
Yeah, last try of the game from Walker. I thought that was a fantastic try. Moved from right to left through the hands. Connor went down the wing back inside and nice hands. And I think it was Walker who went over for the score. So, when they've got space and ball, they can certainly score.
We play a good brand, don't we? I mean, you look at the way the reserves play, and Stuart Wilkins has obviously got them playing like the first team play, because that's the brand of rugby league we're playing. The coaching staff of both sides will talk to each other, and it runs right through the club. And I think that's good to see. We're not just a boring 5 drives in a kick up the jumper team. We're trying to play rugby league the right way, and that's what gave us so many plaudits last season with the first team. So that's good to see, and that's going to develop those lads as well. And I think the promising signs there for the reserves.
Yeah, so you can watch that on RDTV. So if you want to watch the game, watch Salford's tries, log on there and enjoy yourselves. Next game we're going to talk about is a ladies' game. They had their first friendly of the season against Wigan at the Roosters. They went down 38 points to 4. Paul, obviously it's pre-season. It's a step up to Super League. Obviously, results don't really matter at this moment in time. It's more about getting fit, ready for the big kickoff.
Yeah, I won't pay any attention to results in pre-season games unless you're playing Swinton. You don't want to lose to them, but anybody else, I'm not bothered. Yeah, look at the first team. We got hammered really at Wigan, didn't we? And come back in and beat Lee, and we've looked okay in the Super League game so far. So I think pre-season games, really, especially for the ladies as well, it's about ironing things out. It's about new systems. New players have come in as well. You're playing in a new league now this season, a better league, a better standard. So it's just about ironing things out, really. And you don't want to give everything away in a pre-season game, do you? It's about getting back to match fitness, trying combinations out and getting people in the right positions in the right places and things like that. So won't be too disheartened with that. It's a learning curve, isn't it? And you want to be ready for when your season starts.
Yeah. Obviously, a few moments in the game, if you were upset about the Ryan Briley sim binning, your head would have gone with this. I think it was Sage Bannister got sim bin for holding down, and I couldn't see it. I didn't know how penalised for holding down, but I don't think she could understand either. She was walking off the pitch with her hands in the air, and Chris Bates had his hands in the air as well. So I think nobody was quite sure sort of how that happened. But then on the next sort of play from the penalty, Salford scored. Wigan moved the ball wide, threw the ball out wide, and then one of our new signings, Leona Leota, picked the ball up or intercepted on our 20 and raced 70 metres to score to go over in the corner, which is fantastic. Showed great pace and great sort of spatial awareness to get into the corner and beat the Wigan cover. So, very encouraging signs that.
Yeah, certainly, and you can't beat pace, Rob. If you've got pace and your outside backs, that sounds good to me. A new signing as well with plenty of pace is going to bode really well for the season coming. Because if you've got that speed, you can't coach that, can you? And you need that, and no matter what level of rugby league you're playing at. So yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, and then obviously being a pre-season friendly, we started to rotate a bit. Wigan got back into it. They had a try disallowed, then they scored a try from a kick, and then they scored a good try just before half-time. Went through went through their hands to go in at half-time 10-4 up. And then in the second half, we had a good sort of 15, 20-minute period sat on their, I won't say sat on their line, but asking questions of that Wigan defence. And obviously we're going to be playing against sort of Super League teams, and it's a good sort of practice in it to test yourself against sort of a Wigan team. And I was they could have scored if the ball had bounced right a couple of times. They could have scored at least a couple of tries there, but unfortunately, I think once it went in touch, I think there was a bomb and Wigan sort of scuttled the ball dead. I think Kate Gary was nearly over in the corner. I think it was Demi Jones maybe put the ball wide and Gary went for the corner, but about 3 Wigan players threw her in touch. So the chances were there, but on another day, we've got 18 points there, and it's game on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, that's the way the game goes sometimes, doesn't it? You get these turnarounds, don't you? Where you could have scored and it ends up down to the end of the opposition score. So, like we said, it is a learning curve for the ladies, and I'm sure they're going to have a good season. I'm sure they are. They've just got to raise the game. It's going to be tougher. And I think if you asked any of the ladies players, they want it tougher now, don't they? Want to take that next step on their journey. So this Super League 2 is not going to be easy at all.
Yeah, and then Wigan made the scoreline look a bit lopsided by scoring 2 tries twice in 10 minutes in sort of 2 different periods. So that was why it looks more like a blowout scoreline than it was for me. Obviously, Chris Bates will be watching the video and figuring out where it all went wrong. And obviously, to be fair, it didn't really go massively wrong anyway. So they'll be encouraged on what they've seen. And like I said, they've got Challenge Cup to look forward to. They've got Super League 2 to look forward to, and they've got momentum after last season's successes. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. As you said, momentum's a big thing in rugby league, isn't it? Challenge Cup as well. That's going to be exciting to be taking part in that competition this season. If you look at the men's team as well, we're 10-1 to win the Challenge Cup. I think that's the shortest odds I've ever known Salford be. So somebody must know something there. We must be putting our eggs in that basket. But yeah, really looking forward to the ladies' season starting now. And I had a chat with Louise Fellingham at the Hull KR game. She was in the press room doing some great radio work with Jack Deere, and she's not much younger than us, Louise. She was saying she's knocking on a bit now. She's younger than me though, so she was saying she's knocking on. She's a bit old to be playing for the ladies, but she's not going to quit yet. I've told her to carry on going. You've got to keep going, and she's excited for the season to start. Looking in great shape as well. So yeah, the training that the ladies put in, I think it's hats off to them. The commitment and desire. Louise is a firefighter, isn't she? And I know the other ladies have got jobs and things like that. So the commitment they do and the hours they put into training, it's commendable. So no, I wish them all the best for the season. I'm sure they're going to do really well.
Yeah, squad numbers came out this week as well. Lots of pictures of shirts on dressing room walls, and like I say, their first sort of shirt with their own name on the back for a lot of them, and they were buzzing about that.
Yeah, it's tremendous. It must be a tremendous feeling, Rob, to be representing a team and to be pioneers as well. The first season last year, as a ladies team, and now they've got the second season now, and to be part of that team, it must be something special. I wish I was part of a team. I mean, my sport is quite a lonely one, what I do, but yeah, it must be great. And now they're looking forward to the season starting. It's all the razzmatazz is there as well, isn't it? They're so professional. You see them turning up at the ground in their training kits with their bags and things like that. I think that's off to the club. I mean, they took this really seriously, and it's grown arms and legs. And this season's going to be special. They've got promotion, Super League 2. They're playing, the likes of Wigan and teams like that. So it's only going to snowball and get better and better. So looking forward to it all starting now.
Yeah, I think the podcast equivalent would be a podcast badge muff that you put on the end of a microphone.
Yeah.
I think when you get your own muff, and we made it. Well, anyway, so I'll just quickly run through the squad. Lucy McKeown is 1, Kate Gary is 2, Steph Gray is 3, Alex Simpson's 4, Lauren Ellison 5, Lewis Fellingham 6, Demi Jones 7, Megan Condoliffe 8, Taska Corran 9, Sarina Tamau 10, Helena Walker 11, Phoebe Partington 12, Brogan Evans 13, Vicky Kinney 14, Sam Evans 15, Abby Collins 16, Darcy Price 17, Sage Bannister 18, YPS is 19, Ellie Walsh is 20, 21 is Laura Bent, 22 Hannah Wicks, 23 Summer Harris, 24 Liana Leota, and 25 is Becky Davis. So obviously that's the squad numbers for the ladies, and you'll be hearing plenty of them about them on the podcast in the coming weeks and months. So that's all the games, Paul, and we'll start with all the big. Well, now we'll go on to all the big news coming out of the club this week. So we'll start, Paul, with the big news. We'll go with the injuries of Joe Burgess and Oliver Partington have been ruled out for. Well, Paul Raleigh wasn't being drawn on how long, but it sounds like it's going to be a long time, which is a blow because, Oliver Partington has been great for us in these first few games.
He certainly has. He's been a revelation. He's had a lot of admirers from supporters from other clubs as well. I know he had a bit of a reputation when he was at Wigan. He's come to Salford, and I think that reputation has has got better. I think he's been enhanced. I think he's a real hard worker, very aggressive, and he's just what we needed. He's been a direct replacement really for Elijah Taylor. Different sort of player, but I know that's the sort of position that Paul Rowley sees him in, the loose forward position. And to me, loose forward is the most important position, or one of the most important positions on the pitch, because you're that link between the backs and the forwards, that sweeper, if you like, that player that does everything. And that player's got to be athletic. You've got to play big minutes, and Oliver's that sort of player. So to be losing him now for a while, a substantial amount of time, is a blow. Same with Joe Burgess. Joe, for me, against Hull KR, he looked a bit off the pace. Didn't quite look like right there. But against Warrington last week, I thought he was lightning. Every time he got the ball, you could see he was ready to go. He's quick, he's sharp. So yeah, to be losing Joe now, that's another blow for us, and he's another player that's been hampered by like the odd injury, hasn't he? So let's just hope it's not months. Let's hope it's not too bad, because Ryan Brierley and Callum Watkins were both supposed to be out for till Easter, I think, weren't they? But they both started the season, so let's just hope that they make a good recovery and it's not as bad as we thought.
Yeah, it's a small squad. It's been squeezed last season with King V and Shane Wright having a period of time off on the sidelines. Do you think, obviously, that experience, will that sort of help the squad? I said to Paul Rowan, he dismissed it, but obviously we've been in the situation before where we've been short of bodies and we've had to graft, and looks like we're going to have to do it again.
Yeah, I think one thing Paul Roller was saying, I think I read it in the press, and it was very similar when we had Watto as the coach. They were struggling at training because there's not enough players to sort of practice your match skills, because you've not got enough fit bodies to do it. So they were sort of learning on the job in the league games, really, and sort of doing stuff in training that making mistakes that you do in training on the pitch. So that's not ideal at all. So I know we are struggling on numbers, but it's a double-edged sword, really. I mean, you want quality, which we've got, the likes of Brodie Croft and that, but it comes at a cost, I suppose, doesn't it? Because if you're paying for these quality players, you've not got as many players, because obviously you can't afford to sign 30 odd 8 out of 10 players when you've got. I don't want to offend anybody here. You know what I mean, though, don't you? You say you've got superstars like Brodie Croft. I mean, he probably cost more than sort of 4 or 5 average players, for want of a better word. And it's difficult. It's balancing the books, I suppose. It's a balancing act. And I think we had this conversation before the start of the season. We knew we've only got a light squad, and injuries happen. Last season, we didn't do too bad. The spine of the team stayed pretty fit for most of the season. If you look last season, the team picked itself every week, didn't it? I mean, Paul Rowley, it was an easy job for him. He just picked the same team every week, more or less. So we knew it was going to be difficult if we got injuries, but there's players there ready to step up. There's players in the squad that'll have to step up now. With Joe Burgess out, you've got a ready-made replacement there, Reece Williams, who never ever lets us down. So I'm sure Reece will come in this Saturday. Regarding Oliver Partington, I'm not too sure. You've got Chris Atkin, who's been playing that loose forward role. Can Chris step in? Then you obviously want someone to step in on the bench then. But we were talking before, like I said, Ben Ellie, well, he's out injured. Andrew Dixon's injured. James Greenwood's injured. So those players that you want to step in, a lot of them are injured as well. So it's going to be a tough week for Paul. A tough few weeks.
He was kind of clear. There's no one coming in the next few weeks. It's what we have at the moment, which is fine. Everyone knows everyone's job, don't they? And it will be tough, but this is what rugby league is. It's a tough sport, and I think it probably help obviously bring everyone together and defy the odds and possibly pick up a few sort of results, and then by the time everyone else comes back, we can then be pushing for a playoff spot. Other news, Paul, is the club have now got shirt printing service available for £20, and you can get a shirt printed. You have to buy the shirt separately, and it can take up to 1 to 5 days for them to do it. But it's great. Obviously, it's a facility for fans if they want to put a name on the back of a shirt to do it, and puts a few coppers in the club too.
It takes 1 to 5 days to print a shirt.
That's what I said. Waiting time. Wow. Well, I think what it is, you drop it off and they'll do it, won't they? When they've got time.
Right. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's good for people who buy the shirts and that. I mean, I've not bought one, to be honest with you, but I must admit, I like the Centenary kit. I thought it looked absolutely splendid at the league game coming out in that. I thought it looked really, really good, and the home kit looks great as well. So yeah, it's more money in the coffers, isn't it? I suppose, and get your names on the shirts. And I mean, what I must say is, I don't think I've been on the podcast for a bit, so I've probably not said this, but the matches, the amount of bobble hats we seem to have sold. Everybody seems to have a bobble hat on. So I think that the merchandise has gone really well because loads of people have bought the shirts and loads of people have bought the. I always feel a bit left out now in the crowd. I've not got a new shirt, but yeah, that's good. Get your name on the back of it. I think it's good business.
Yeah, ladies have announced a friendly, two friendlies. Barrett at home on the 19th of March, 4:45 kickoff, and then Lee on the 2nd of April. So that's two more friendlies to put petrol in the tank, ready for the big Super League kickoff.
And the 19th of March, we play Wakefield that day as home as well,
Yeah.
Mother's Day, innit? So yeah, I'm pretty sure we can get down early. And what time does the ladies kick off? Do we know?
4:45.
So is it after that'll be after our game,
yeah.
won't it? Yeah. So if you're hanging about, car park's busy, you can watch that game before you go home, can't you? So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah. Other news, Callum Watkins signs new 3-year deal. Obviously, it's been a while since we've been on it. Happened about 3 weeks ago, but we haven't had a chat about it. Parky did, but we didn't. What do you think? Obviously, we've been our captain, been very good so far for us last season, this season. Leads by example. I suppose it's great having him signed up for a long-term deal, so we can obviously build round him.
Yeah, well, there was rumours about other clubs sniffing round him, wasn't there? So that's good. That's good that we're keeping hold of him because, like you said, it's important to build the team around these sort of players. So this nucleus of players that we have signed contracts like Jack Ormer, Callum Watkins, Andy Ackers, Brodie Croft. These are big players, aren't they? Ackers and Croft are like the spine of your team, aren't they? Callum is the captain. So, if you're keeping these sort of players, it's great because you look at the end of this season now. You're going into recruitment, Bleasy, and whatever, you're going into recruitment, Paul Rowley or whoever does the recruiting, and you're saying to players, in Australia or in this country or wherever, come to Salford, and they say, well, why? And you say, well, we've got Andy Ackers here, we've got Brodie Croft, they're all tied down under contracts, and that's going to attract other good players to come because they know they're going playing with good players. The Brodie Croft one, to me, the 7-year contract, I think it was a masterstroke because whether he stays 7 years or not, if he's going to go now, someone's going to have to pay big money for him. And I think him signing it is just sort of said to other clubs that I'm ambitious, I want to win trophies with Salford. So it was a real big statement by the club. And I think the club are doing things the right way, provided we've got the finances to back this up and pay for these contracts, which I'm sure we have. But no, I think it's great. Tying people down is good because what we don't want is you come in sort of May, June when the contracts are running out and people can start talking to players. You get it every single year. People getting tapped up, don't you? Somebody's going there, he knocks off the pace, and the crowd start moaning and saying, such body's not pulling his weight because he's going to Huddersfield next season or he's going to Hull or wherever. So it's great. And one thing that we've had this season is continuity. The squad's more or less the same as it was last year, barring one or two players, and that's good. Look at St Helens. How many players do they sign every season? Maybe one or two every year. They keep that nucleus of that side, and that's what it's all about. The team that brings in 12 new signings never does very well. And Wakefield's league this season, I think they're that, and Castleford, they're another one. They're struggling, aren't they? So, no, I think getting players signed up is really good. And Callum is a mustard player. He's brilliant.
Yeah, so great news there. Other news as well, the game against Hull this week will be on the Our League app. They're kind of trialling streaming games for next season and beyond. I think it's a good idea. It's £4.95 if you buy it before Saturday or £10 if you buy it on Saturday. So if you aren't going up to Hull, ideal opportunity to watch the game on the Our League app. They did a good job during lockdown, I thought, and hopefully it'll be like that again. And what's your thoughts, Paul, on potential streaming services for every game? Obviously, for fans who can't get down to the match.
For me, I'm not bothered because I normally go, but yeah, if you can't go for whatever reason, you're ill or you're old or you don't drive or there can be a number of reasons. It's great because you want to watch the match, don't you? Don't get me wrong, the coverage on local radio is really good. Radio Manchester do a great job, don't they? And I used to love listening to them before I could drive. My dad was working on some Sundays, and I couldn't always go. I used to listen to that. So lucky now, I've got a car, and I can sort of take my dad and get to most games. So, but no, I think it's good, and it's not a lot of money, is it? £4.95. I mean, it's a big jump up if you pay a tenner on the day, isn't it? But £4.95 is not bad, and I think the coverage is pretty good from what I've seen on the Hour League app. The commentary is good. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. And you can always, if you don't have the commentary on there, you can always mute it and put Radio Manchester on, can't you? Get the best of both worlds.
Opportunity for the club to get revenue. Opportunity for sponsors to see themselves a bigger audience and grow the sport. I can't see a massive sort of problem with it, really. Being selfish, maybe opportunity for me to possibly get a commentary job on there. But you never know. I probably wouldn't be able to do so because I'd be like, yeah, I can't do that when you're a neutral commentator. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But I think it's great. I think it's really good. I think hopefully the clubs will all buy into it and it'll grow the exposure of the sport and help it grow.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't know how it works in Australia. I think they tend to have a lot more games on their sort of Channel 9 than we do. I think most of their games are on, aren't they? I think every game's on. I mean, if you look at football now, Premier League, I'm pretty certain you can watch nearly all the games, can't you now? Whether it's Red Button or... I don't think it's live, but you can usually watch them sort of at half an hour after or at tea time or whatever, can't you? So the more games that you get on and the more people can watch, the more coverage the sport gets. I think it's better. I mean, you look at it now, you've got Sky Sports doing a good job. Not the best job, but they're not bad. But you've got Channel 4 who I think do a great job. I think their coverage is good. And I know there's been matches on Monday night. The Championship, is that a pay-per-view channel? Is it via Sports or something? I've seen that. I was having a scan through me. I watch a lot of telly, but I was scanning through last night and noticed that was on there. So I think you can pay for that channel. So yeah, the more rugby league we can watch it, the better.
Yeah, and if you can't get on the Hour League app, you can listen to BBC Radio Manchester, where Paul Heighton and Trevor Hunt and Chris Charles will be following the action, which is they're very knowledgeable and great. Trevor's a great commentator, so you'll have your bases covered there.
Yeah, so yeah, Trevor's brilliant, and I mean, big kudos to Chris Charles as well, because we always see Chris Charles when we go to either OKR or Hull. He's always there, and he always gives Salford a good. He cheers us on, doesn't he? Really, he's a secret Salford support. I think Chris, Hull lad, but play for OKR, play for Salford, great guy as well. Paul Heighton's always really good on the radio as well. I think anyone they get on Radio Manchester. I mean, it was good to hear Louise Fellingham the other week, and I think Luke Adamson was on, who played for us as well. They always have some really good guests on there, and their coverage is absolutely brilliant. I mean, I was listening to the Rugby League Hour on Sunday afternoon. They have Stacey Copeland on there with Jack and Trevor, and they've got callers coming on. I think it's brilliant coverage. Salford get great coverage on there. I think, Jack and Trevor are secret little Salford supporters. I think Jack is quiet anyway. He's always sticking up for us. So yeah, their coverage is great.
Yeah, he always like in the commentary box when at half time and they're on and I'm not, and he kind of I look at Trevor and you could tell it's his eye. You could tell his eyes whether it's a good half or a bad half, and it's little things like that make me sort of chuckle. But don't forget though, if you're going to the game against Hull on Saturday, buy your tickets from the club. Club get 25%, puts a few more coppers in the tank.
Yeah, it certainly does. I'm hoping to get some tickets this week, to be honest. I normally try and get them when I'm driving past the ground, but my jobs have been all over the place the last couple of days, so I've not been able to get past the AJ Bell. I've been in like Burnley and Blackburn and God knows where else, so I'll try and get down there either tomorrow or Friday. But I think you can... I was asking Ellen today to phone him up and just save us some and pick him up on Friday when I'm passing, but I think you can do that, can't you? Buy him over the phone and just pick him up from reception. You'd
hope so. I'm sure if you said I'm Paul Whiteside, send me a ticket, somebody will. Maybe. I don't know. I suppose even if you can't pick them up from the club, you can pick them up from Hull, can't you? As long as you pay,
I think you can do that.
They'll be all right.
I'm pretty sure you can do that. You can buy them and just pick them up there, can't you? I'm sure you can. Yeah.
Okay. Other news. Salford Red Devils Foundation, Year 10 and Year 11 Girls Open Day, 4th of April from 12:30 at Eccles College. Like I said, they're trying to build the infrastructure around the ladies team now, so it's opportunity for if you've got a girl in that age group to go down and try and hopefully one day get to play for the ladies team.
That's it. That's what we want, isn't it? You know, the ladies who are playing now are trendsetters, aren't they? And they're influencing people. I know my daughter's really interested in rugby league now, and she's been playing football at school, and she's not very good at football, and so I dropped out of it. And she's been told that they're going to do rugby league next year when she goes into year 8. So she's looking forward to that, and that a lot of that is to do with the ladies playing. You know, she's got a season ticket for Salford now, but I think. Oh, she loves coming watching the first team, and Ryan Brier's an hero of hers and what have you. But I think the ladies, watching the ladies play, is sort of, you know, helped her along as well, thinking, I can do that, I can be involved in that. And I think that's sort of gone hand in hand, really. So yeah, it's been good. These last 2 years have been really good. I think, you know, seeing the amount of kids that go to the matches now, I think, you know, it's really, really heartwarming to see. You know, it's not just old fogies like us that are going anymore. Kids and people are getting involved, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's International Women's Day as well, so happy International Women's Day to all the ladies out there, all the ladies who listen to the podcast. 35%, I think, of our listeners are female. Paul, which shows that we've grown from about maybe 10 in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, which is great.
Because you got Parky on it, it's a ladies'
Well,
man, isn't it?
I won't call you everyone's favourite Paul Whiteside for no reason.
Thanks for radio, me, buddy.
That's it. Other news: the Rising Stars campaign will start again later in the year for under 15s, under 16s. If you're interested in either the Ladies Open Day or the Rising Stars, contact danny.barton@salfordcc.ac.uk. David Watkins was 81 yesterday. Paul, you know, what a legend at the club, what a legend in rugby league, really. And yeah, we wish him happy birthday.
Yeah, I know my dad said to me the other week about, you know, players like that shouldn't really grow old, should they? It's difficult, you know, when you've seen him, you know, playing in the pomp. And I know David's been quite poorly, hasn't he, recently? And, you know, 81, you know, when you see him playing in his 20s, I bet I mean, my dad goes to see Mike Koolman quite a lot. Mike's been pretty poorly recently, and I think it upsets him sometimes, thinking, oh, wow, I saw him in like the 60s and 70s playing, and like now he's lost quite a bit of weight and he's not so well. He's you know, don't remember things like he used to do. And, you know, it's David Watkins was a great player, wasn't he, in both codes, you know, rugby union and rugby league, and absolute legend of the sport, you know, record breaker for Salford, and he'll go down as one of our all-time greats. You've only got to look at some of the comments I saw on social media from people when it was his birthday the other day, and people were saying he's my favourite player, and he got me watching rugby league. That's why I started watching Salford. He was a trailblazer when he signed for us, wasn't he? He was a bloke in the peak of his career. And, you know, a fantastic player. I mean, it's just a shame that there's not... I don't think there's hardly any footage out there, is there, of David playing for Salford? There's hardly anything from us in the 70s. Very, very little, which is such a shame. Obviously, there's a '69 Cup final, isn't there? But there's not much else. You can watch those great players, and we had some fantastic players then, didn't we? Fantastic side, and David was a massive part of that, and a great international player for Wales as well.
Yeah. Talking about sort of players getting old, do you find, Paul, that when I started watching Salford, all these players were like, sort of, must have been about maybe 12, 13, and the players were all sort of 20s, mid-20s, and they were all seemed really old. And then as time's gone on, we've got older and the players have got younger. And now I forget the players are only all about sort of mid-20s, and they're like 40.
Yeah, you're old enough to be the dad now, aren't you?
I know.
Well, not only that, you start thinking, you see players and you think, I remember his dad. And sometimes you remember, like my dad will say, I remember his granddad. You know, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember my dad telling me, like, when I first started going out, players like Paul Newlove, people like that, he'd say, oh, be a great player. He said, well, I remember Paul Newlove's dad, John Newlove, playing for Featherstone in the 60s and 70s. And I'm saying the same thing to Imogen now. You look at players and think, yeah, I remember his dad, or I remember such a player, and it's like, you think, oh, when did he play then, Dad? About 1998. It's like, when was 1998? It's like 20 odd years, 25 years ago, it is. So it flies by, doesn't it? Time does fly by, and you don't realise, do you, you look at things sometimes and look at memories and that, and you think, God, when was that match? Oh, 2000 and something. And you think, what the hell? It's a lifetime ago, isn't it? So yeah, we are getting old now. Both of us are 40 now, aren't we? So
I know. Yeah. It's the reference points. It's like I remember speaking to YPS last season when we did the podcast with her, and I said to her, "You know what? You want to watch Andy Kohler? He's a similar forward to you." She looked at me like, "Who?" And I thought, Andy Cole was about 20 years ago. I was like, "Oh yeah, she's not going to remember Andy Cole, is she?" You know what I mean? So
no.
reference points out of sync there. Other news: Walking Rugby is on at Eccles College Tuesday 7 p.m. Great way to get fit. Great community down there. We've seen sort of pictures, haven't we, of them of doing it, and I think it's great the foundation have got things like this up and running for everybody.
Yeah, it certainly is doing a great job. The foundation as well. I spoke to John Blackburn actually on Saturday. He phoned me up and he was telling me about something that they're doing at the moment. They're doing it's not a Willow's Memories, but like a memories video. I think they've been filming today, haven't they, in the Dog and Partridge and at the stadium, and that's going to be great. When that comes out, I look forward to watching that. And the foundation and John and people like that, and Neil Blackburn and all those other guys down there do a great job, don't they? And things like this Walking Rugby League, it's just getting people involved. It's getting people out there in the community, and getting them out there and doing a bit. And rugby league is a great way to make friends. You think of any friends you've made through rugby league. I mean, I knew your face years ago, but I wasn't friends with you until I started doing this podcast. So you think about, you look through your friends, and you think how many people have I met through rugby league, and it's loads of people, and it does bring people together. And yeah, Walking Rugby League is another way of doing that.
Yeah, lots of nodding, like faces just nod as you walk past, and never didn't know the names, didn't know what they were like. Just I'm here. I could see you're here as well.
Yeah, well, do you know what? Years ago, in like the 90s, I've sort of said hi to you loads of times. Same with Park. I didn't know Paul Parkin, but I must have said hi to Paul Parkin for 10, 15 years. And then it's only since sort of Facebook that then he became my friend on Facebook, and same with you, like I'm on the podcast. And I social media can be rubbish sometimes, can't it, for stuff? But I think for that, I've made loads of friends on that through rugby, just because the faces that you see there. If you go through my Facebook now, most of the people who are friends on there either went to school with me or go to Salford, and it's been good in a way because it puts you on first name terms with them, and you see them at the game, and you can actually say, "Hey, Rob." Because I see you're on there, and you can become a bit more familiar with people. So I think it's been good for that. And Salford, anyway, I think as a supporter base, I think we are all pretty close, really. We all sort of say hi to each other, and the faces, and everybody seems there's a real good community spirit at Salford. I think there always has been, particularly at the away games and that. We all let on, we all stand together, we all get on, and I don't think other clubs have that as much as we do.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the Walking Rugby, contact john.blackburn@salfordcc.ac.uk. Final bit of news, Paul, is the club are looking for local bands / artists to play at the AJ Bell. Obviously, after successes of Lee and Hull KR, I think had a band as well. I think it'd be a good thing. I know they had a few bands last season and artists singing before the game, and it gives you that sort of pre-season build-up with a bit of music and a bit of excitement. So hopefully the club will be inundated with offers to play.
Yeah, Dave Campbell in a band.
He is.
Yeah, Dave Campbell's in a band. Is it Elwood? I think they called, aren't they? Yeah,
there we go.
Dave Campbell would be good. I've seen it. I think I follow him. His band on Facebook. So yeah, he'd be good to have on. I mean, I've seen videos that they've done, and they're really good. I think they do weddings and all sorts of stuff, don't they? So that'd be good to get them on. But I mean, if you're talking about bands, I mean, I think it was great at Lee. They had that Scouting for Girls on, and I believe they play St Helens this week, and they've got Tapawa, Carol Decker, China in Your Hand. I think she sung that, didn't she, in the 80s? So. Hats off to Lee. They're putting some real entertainment on, aren't they? So, but yeah, if you're a local band in Salford, I mean, wouldn't it be great to get a famous band down. I mean, what about New Order or someone like that? I don't think Hookie's in New Order anymore. He's Peter Hookie's from Salford, isn't he? Would he not come down and do us a bit? So happy Mondays. They're a little old, I think, aren't they? But yeah, it'd be great to get someone like that. But I'm pretty sure there's local bands, isn't there, and perhaps supporters who are in bands and music groups and that could come down and do a bit. I think it'd be great. Me, I love my music, so yeah, get involved and tell the club.
Yep. If you want to get your band involved in this process, contact inquiries at salfordreddevils.net and presumably send some kind of MP3 of you singing along or whatever for them to listen to, and then they'll get back to you.
Yeah, sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, so that's the news this week, and now we'll see what's happening in the world of rugby league with Whiteside's World of Rugby League.
Here's this week's Devil in the Detail, Amateur Report and World of Rugby League. There's quite a lot going on this week, so you'll have to bear with me. We'll take our time and get through it, I'm sure. We'll start off with Amateur Rugby League. The National Conference League, that was back in action after the break for the Challenge Cup. In the Conference Premier Division, Rochdale Mayfield continued their good run. They beat Lock Lane by 28 points to 18. In Division 2, there was just one fixture involving our locals. Two. Normanton Knights 14, Saddleworth Rangers 18, and Waterhead Warriors 56, Milford 4. The fixtures for this week, these games are all going to be played on Saturday, the 11th of March. Division 2, it's Saddleworth Rangers against Waterhead Warriors. Lee East faced Oldham St Anne's. There's no game for Rochdale Mayfield because they're appearing in the Challenge Cup this weekend. In the North West Men's League, there's some results from last Saturday. In the North West Men's League Cup, Blackbrook 24, West Orton Lions 6. In the Alliance Cup, the game between Rochdale Mayfield and Wigan St Jude's was a no result. The fixtures for this week in Division 1, it's Thatto Heath Crusaders A against West Horton Lions. Chorley Panthers are at home to Salford City Roosters. Dalton face Caddy's Head Rhinos, and Wigan Springview entertain Folly Lane. In Division 2, Rochdale Mayfield A are at home to the Ashton Bears A. Division 3, Waterhead Warriors A face Langworthy Reds. Division 4, Bolton at home to Runcorn Highfield. There's a name from the past. Alliance Division, it's Oldham St Anne's A against Ince Roads Bridge A. In Student Rugby League, it was Wednesday, the 1st of March, in Tier 2 of the Northern Division. Manchester beat Salford by 74 points to 4. In College Rugby League, Furness 60, Salford Red Devils 16. The fixtures for this week, these games are playing Wednesday the 8th of March. It's Newcastle A against Manchester, that's in the Northern Conference Cup. There's a couple of fixtures in College Rugby League also on Wednesday. In the Premier Division, Salford Red Devils at home to Wakefield, and Castleford Tigers face Hotwood Hall College. Runshaw face Oldham Sixth Form, that's in the North West League. Well, moving on to the North West Youth Leagues, there's quite a lot to get through here. On Friday, these games are played on the 3rd of March. In Division 2, Salford City Roosters 12, Goulburn Parkside Greens 42. That was the Under-13s Division 2. On Sunday, the 5th of March, Division 2 of the Under-15s, Folly Lane 30, Lee East 10, Pilkington Rex 0, Oldham St Anne's 30. In Division 3 of the Under-15s, Saddleworth Rangers 24, Crossfields Vipers 0, Waterhead Warriors 38, Ashton Bears 4. In the Under-14s, Division 2, Oldham St Anne's 58, Crossfields Vipers 0, Orrell St James 18, Oldham St Anne's Golds 10, Thatto Heath Shields 16, Folly Lane 12. In Division 4 of the Under-14s, Accrington Wildcats 22, Woolston Rovers Goals 20. In the Under-13s Division 1, Blackbrook Royals 68, Rochdale Mayfield 0. In Division 2, need my glasses again. Lee Minor Rangers Golds 18, Oldham St Anne's 38, Saddleworth Rangers 22, Halton Farmouth Hornets 36. And in Division 3 of the Under-13s, there's one result, Pilkington Rex 12, Waterhead Warriors 34. Fixtures for this Sunday. In the Under-18s, Salford City Roosters at home to Waterhead Warriors in the Premier Division. In the Under-18s Division 1, Rochdale Mayfield entertain Crossfields. In the Under-16s Division 1, Ryland Sharks at home to Folly Lane. Salford City Roosters play Wathbrow Hornets. In Division 2 of the Under-16s, Burton Wood are at home to West Horton. Wigan St Cuthberts face Saddleworth Rangers. In Division 3 of the Under-16s, Ulverston at home to Langworthy Reds. In the Under-15s, Division 2, Dalton play Rochdale Mayfield. Division 3, Crossfields Vipers play Waterhead Warriors. In the Under-14s, Wigan St Jude's are at home to Saddleworth Rangers in Division 1. In Division 2 of the Under-14s, Folly Lane face Oldham St Anne's Blacks. Oldham St Anne's Golds at home to Thatto Heath Shields. In Division 3 of the 14s. Rochdale Mayfield at home to Lee Minor Rangers Goals. Division 4, it's Bankey Bulls against Langworthy Reds. And in the under 13s, Division 1, Rochdale Mayfield at home to Fatto Heath Crusaders. Division 2, Oldham St Anne's face Wigan St Pat's. Wigan St Cuthberts are at home to Saddleworth Rangers. And Division 3 of the under 13s, Waterhead Warriors face Latchford Giants Maroons. And West Horton Lions are at home to the Blackpool Scorpions. Well, there was some reserve rugby league action the weekend just gone. Leeds Rhinos in Division 1, they beat Bradford Bulls by 48 points to 0. St Helens 72, Newcastle Thunder 4. Warrington beat Salford Red Devils 40 points to 16. London Broncos 14, Hull FC 54. Huddersfield 66, Wakefield 4. And Castleford Tigers 12, Wigan Warriors 12. Moving over a couple of thousand miles over to, 1,000 miles or so to France, something like that. We've got the results from the French Coupe de France Lord Derby quarter-finals. The results: Avignon 18, Pierre 8, Carcassonne 28, Lesignan 14, Limoux 42, St Gaudens 6, and Villa Gale Henk 20, I think you say it like that, Albi 42. And there's no Elite League 1 fixtures for the coming weekend of the 11th and 12th of March. Right, well, before we have a look at domestic things, we'll have a look at the results in the NRL Premiership Round 1. That's about 12,000 miles around the world to Australia. New Zealand Warriors 20, Newcastle Knights 12, Penrith Panthers 12, Brisbane Broncos 13. So they lost to Saints at home 13-12, and now they lost at home to Brisbane 13-12. Cracking game that as well. Manly Seagulls 31, Canterbury Bulldogs 6. North Queensland Cowboys 19, Canberra Raiders 18, Cronulla Sharks 18, South Sydney Rabbitohs 27, and the Dolphins, the new team, they won. They beat Sydney Roosters by 28 points to 18. A great match that was on the television as well. Big crowd there as well, 32,000 to watch the Dolphins against Sydney Roosters. Great win for them. West Tigers 10, Gold Coast Titans 22, and Parramatta Eels, they lost. This was a cracking match, this. Parramatta Eels 12, Melbourne Storm 16. So some belting games there in the NRL. The fixtures for round 2, it gets underway on Thursday 9th of March. This game's on Sky Telly, actually 9 o'clock. Penrith against South Sydney Rabbitohs. There's 2 games on the television on Friday. Parramatta Eels against Cronulla Sharks and Brisbane against North Queensland. On Saturday, it's Sydney Roosters against New Zealand Warriors. Dolphins play Canberra Raiders, and the television game at 8:30 is Melbourne Storm against Canterbury Bulldogs. On Sunday, it's West Tigers against Newcastle Knights, and St George Illawarra face the Gold Coast Titans. Let's turn our attention to the Super League and the Betfred Championship and Betfred League 1. Results from round 3 of the Super League from the weekend just gone. Castleford 0, Wigan Warriors 36, Catalan Dragons 38, Hull FC 6, Hull Kingston Rovers 25, Lee Leopards 30. Great win for Lee there. Scored a few late tries as well in that match. Great win. St Helens 24, Leeds Rhinos 25. That was a belting game on Friday night as well. Wakefield Trinity 0, Huddersfield Giants 8, and Warrington Wolves 36, Salford Red Devils 20. In round 5 of the Championship, Barrow 18, Newcastle Thunder 18, Halifax Panthers 20, Batley Bulldogs 16, Keighley Cougars 33, London Broncos 22. Sheffield Eagles, they had another big win. They beat Widnes Vikings by 42 points to 12. Swinton Lions 0, York City Knights 40, and Toulouse Olympics 72, Whitehaven 10. The match between Featherstone and Bradford was on Monday night, and Featherstone won that game. I think it was 26 points to 12 or 26-16. I think it was 26-12. So there was one game, last Monday, the televised game was Widnes 42, Halifax Panthers 14. Round 2 of the League 1, Dewsbury 50, Midlands Hurricanes 10, Hunslet 22, North Wales Crusaders 8, Oldham 62, London Scholars 18, and Rochdale Hornets 10, Doncaster 20. So the fixtures for this week: Wigan Warriors face Catalan Dragons in Super League. That's 8 o'clock, Sky Telly on Thursday night. On Friday night, all these games are 8 o'clock kickoffs. The Telly game is Huddersfield against Castleford. Hull Kingston Rovers at home to Warrington Wolves. Leeds Rhinos face Wakefield Trinity, and Lee Leopards are at home to St Helens. And they've got another musical guest on at that game as well. They had Scouting for Girls at the Salford game. Well, back to the 80s at this one. They've got Tapau, Carol Decker will be there. China in Yand, I think that's one of her songs, wasn't it? So Lee pulling out all the stops again, and good luck to them in that game against St Helens. On Saturday, 11th of March, Hull FC face Salford Red Devils, a 3 o'clock kickoff at the KCOM Stadium, and the rest of the games at a Challenge Cup. Saturday, 2 o'clock, Lee Minor Rangers against Rochdale Mayfield. London Broncos face Whitehaven at 3 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's All St James against Midlands Hurricanes. Siddle face Sheffield Eagles at 2:30. Stanley at Newcastle Thunders at 2:30. And Westgate Common face Hunslet ARLFC. That's at 1:30. West Warriors play Widnes Vikings. That game is a 3 o'clock kickoff. On Sunday, Barrow face Swinton, 3 o'clock. Batley plays Westborough Hornets at 2 o'clock. Bradford Bulls face York Acorn at 3 o'clock. Dewsbury Rams at home to Rochdale Hornets. That is at 2 o'clock. Doncaster against Workington is at 3 o'clock. On the Sportsman at 3 o'clock, it's Featherstone against Halifax Panthers. Hunslet at home to Keighley Cougars at 3. And on the BBC Sport website, it's Thatto Heath Crusaders against North Wales Crusaders. That's 12:30. That should be a belting game. That Thatto Heath, real good amateur side there. That's going to be a tough game for North Wales Crusaders. And could we see another cup shock there? I possibly could do. York Knights face West Bowling. That is at 3 o'clock as well. So looking at the league tables, Featherstone Rovers are 5 from 5 now, top of the table. Toulouse are second with 4 from 5, and Sheffield Eagles have got 4 from 5. Great start for the Eagles. In the Betfred League 1, Dewsbury Rams have won both their games, and so have Doncaster. In the Super League, it's just Warrington and Catalans now who are unbeaten. Warrington 3 from 3 and Catalans 3 from 3. Wakefield at bottom, they've yet to win a game along with Castleford Tigers. So that is it. That's all I've got for you this week. Take care, have a good week, and I'll see you hopefully on Saturday in Hull. Take care. Ta-ra.
So that was Whiteside's World of Rugby League, and now we'll look forward to the Hull game on Saturday. So Salford travel to Hull on Saturday. Big game after the defeat against Warrington. Thoughts, Paul?
Big game for both clubs. Hull had a good start. They won the first 2 games, but they got battered in Catalan last week. Quite a heavy defeat there. They've signed some big names, haven't they? Jake Clifford, Tex Hoy, Brad Dwyer's gone there as well, I think. Mm-hmm. So they're expected to do well again, aren't they? Got a new manager in Tony Smith. It's a big pitch. Hull, big ground I like going to. It's going to be tough, with the injuries we mentioned before. But no, I think I'm quietly confident we can go there and do a job. Looking at the bookies, we've got a 6-point start, so they think it's going to be pretty close, and they're not usually wrong. They're usually pretty bang on. So it's going to be a tight game, that tells me. So looking forward to it. I don't know. You're going to ask me for a score prediction in a bit, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm quietly confident we can do a job.
Yeah, I think obviously, like you said, Brad Dwyer, he's a good player, and Brad Fish. Yeah. I think I'm impressed with him. I think last time we played him, and as a swift on the wing, he's quick as well. So, yeah, the wide open spaces of the KC still will suit our rally ball ways, I think.
Yeah. I think we'll attack the game, won't we, like we did against Warrington. And I think when you go to Hull, you've got to quieten the crowd down, haven't you? They normally, you can quiet them down a bit and you get an early score. And, we've got players on there who can cause problems. You've got Mark Steen and Brodie Croft. I think it's important that those two get off to a good start. I think I said before, I thought Warrington did a good job on Croft. They kept him quiet. They marked him really well. Hulk did. Teams are going to do that this season now. He's not an unknown quantity anymore, is he? So he's going to have to work a bit harder. But we've got match winners on there. Look at our outside backs, Dion Cross, Tim Lafay. Tim Lafay against Warrington again. He was really, really elusive. We've got to use that. We've got to use that against Hull. They've got a big pack as well. They've got some smart players. I mentioned Hoy and Clifford, who've looked good in the games I've seen so far. Brad Dwyer, we know all about him. He's rapid, isn't he, round the ruck? And I think they've got Ben McNamara at halfback as well, who's Steve McNamara's son. He's a decent player. Brad Fash, you mentioned there. I think he's got the best haircut in Super League. He's the one with the blonde mullet, isn't he? He always impresses me. And Scott Taylor as well, Danny Houghton. Danny Houghton. He's been knocking around for years, hasn't he? But he's somebody who always impresses me, works his socks off, real tackling machine. Scott Taylor's a real fearsome forward as well. So they've got some good players, Hull, there's no doubt about that. They've got a very impatient chairman, I think, in that Adam Pearson. He doesn't seem to have much patience, does he? But every season they're expected to do well, and for one reason or another, they always seem to flatter to deceive. But perhaps this will be their season. But we've got to go there and quiet it down and play our own game. I think if we do that, we can get the win. There's no reason why we can't. Yeah,
Tony Smith v Paul Rowley. I think Paul Rowley played under Tony Smith at Huddersfield, so obviously I think. Obviously, with Paul Rowley, he'll have probably took a bit of coaching advice off, not advice, maybe the way Tony Smith operates in his career. So that'll be interesting battle between them two.
Yeah, Tony Smith, he's managed a few clubs, hasn't he? In Super League, Warrington, Leeds, Huddersfield, and both Hull clubs now, so he's done half the league, hasn't he? That was a surprise to me that he left OKR to go to Hull. And that seems to happen a lot, doesn't it? Players seem to go from one side of Hull, East Hull to West Hull. The amount of players who play for both clubs is uncanny, really, isn't it? So yeah, it's a big job he's got in his hands there, Tony Smith. But he's a very, very good coach. I think he did a terrific job at OKR and turned them into a really good side, didn't he? So more pressure will be on him. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going on, I said to you before, on a Saturday game rather than a Thursday. You can make a bit of a day of it, can't you? Going up to Hull and yeah, I'm excited to go, and I think there'll be a lot of Salford supporters there. We took another good following to Warrington, didn't we? We took a belting following to Lee, and again at Warrington Thursday night, there was a big following there. So yeah, I'm quietly confident we can go and sneak a win.
Yep. Prediction time. We'll start with the weather.
Well, I've been going up and down the M61 last 2 days. I've been all over the place around there, and the amount of grit vans I've seen out gritting the motorway, it's been ridiculous. And it did snow a bit. I was near Manchester Airport today and it snowed a bit, but someone was telling me today it's going to belt it down with snow tomorrow. So I don't know how true that is. And that, we're recording this Wednesday night, so that was Thursday. But the weather looks all right, I think, for the weekend, doesn't it? It's supposed to be a bit warmer, but Hull, it's cold up there, isn't it? It's always freezing. And if we go in the press box in that stand, you're top of the stand now. It's like being on top of the world there, isn't it? So we'll have to take a flask with us.
Yeah, to get the oxygen tank with me up there. Yeah. I'll be fit by the time we get to the top of there. That's for sure.
Yeah. You normally get some soup or something in the press room there, don't you? So fill a flask up or something. So yeah, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but yeah, my advice would be take a big coat. It's big coat weather still, isn't it?
It is. Big coat weather, Paul. Write that down. Make sure you keep yourselves warm, ready for the big kick-off on Saturday. I know, like you said, it's going to snow in the next couple of days, so you're going to be busy keeping Britain warm.
Yeah, do my best, mate. Do my best.
So prediction time. What do we think?
I'm going to go Hull 18, Salford 22.
Hull
18,
Salford 22.
I can't remember what I said last week for the game.
I don't think anyone won.
Right.
I'm gonna go Salford to win. I'm gonna go Hull 10, Salford 36. 36. Brodycroft hat trick.
That'll do us. You wrote them down.
Wrote them down. Ready for the Nando's when it comes in.
Well, so by the time we win this, won't we?
I'm expecting a standing ovation when I get to Nando's. We'll have to send a message ahead. You know what you should do is you should pretend it's one of our birthdays, so they might bring a cake, and we can have like a celebratory cake.
That's an idea, isn't it? Yeah.
Hopefully, don't leave all the secrets away. But
let's get the score right.
Get the score right first, then we'll get the cake started. So that's the end of this week's podcast. Another great show. Really enjoyed it. Just before I go, two things. Massive thanks to all the people that have donated on the Ko-fi in the last few weeks. It's really made a big difference to ourselves getting equipment and paying for programs. Obviously, this podcast isn't free to produce, but with your help, it's helping us, continue to provide content for you to enjoy, Paul.
Yeah, certainly. Well, yeah, you got me a tripod, didn't you?
I did.
Which I'm not on at the moment because my camera's not working, but I will be on that next week. So yeah, that was big thanks to the listeners, for helping, you get that for me with those funds. So yeah, and Parky as well. So we really appreciate it, people, donating and that. I mean, times are hard at the moment, aren't they, for people? There's cost of living and whatever. So if you enjoy the podcast and you can help us out, it's I can't thank people enough for that. I think it's great. It really is great that people think a lot of us and listening to it. So thanks very much.
Yeah, and the breaking news is we've also got a website now, which is great. It's The Devil in the Detail, SRD.com. And on the website, you've got match reports, we've got podcasts. You've got pictures. We're going to hopefully expand on it as well. It's kind of work in progress, but it's a place where you can go to get all the content in one place, which is great, Paul.
Yeah, I went on it the other night. You need to get a better picture of me on it, though. Like I'm crying on that picture.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Paul? You're a serial hugger. Every picture you have, you're hugging somebody. You don't have a picture by yourself.
Usually the kids, I'm usually either with Ellen or the kids.
Yep. Kids,
never
Helen, dog, lots of different ratios of like half faces. Never a full face by yourself. You get me a full face by yourself, I'll change the picture. How's that sound?
All right. I'll work on it. Yeah, I'll see if I can find one for you.
I
might take. You can take one of me this weekend at all.
Yeah, maybe. Just try to stop the urge of hugging someone before the shutter snaps.
People hugging me, Rob. People like me.
It's a curse, that. It's a curse.
Oh no, it is. It is. I know. It looks good anyway. It looks good, and well done on the hard work of putting it together.
Yeah, like I say, hopefully it'll grow. We'll get more on it, and it'll be a place for content for our listeners to enjoy. So big thanks to this week's Devil in Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. Good luck, Reds. See you soon.